なんか始まった? Oh, okay. ラグかな? Okay. Hello, anybody, everybody. I still can't see it, but we're just gonna roll with it. Okay. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to 日本語の森. Today we're doing some more kanji based on the new book that we made. I love kanji. We're learning basically like bushu, which are like one of the shapes that go into kanji. That is what you would call the most important part of the kanji. A lot of the times it has to do with the meaning of the kanji. We're also learning tsukuri. This oftentimes has, it'll be on the right-hand side of a kanji, and it will have something to do with the onyomi at sometimes. So it helps you memorize, like, once you memorize, this shape, you can know, oh, if this shape exists on the right-hand side of a kanji, maybe the onyomi is also this. Oh, we're starting. Okay, great. Okay, I see it now. Welcome, everybody. We're picking up where we left off yesterday, so I got a lot more material to cover. If you haven't yet, check out, hello. If you haven't yet, check out this book. There's a link in the description. I think we're going to be posting a link in the chat too. Yeah, so this is the book we made. It has kanji that appear most frequently on the JLPT N2. You could use it for studying, or you could just use it if, like, as a hobby, like if you're just interested in learning, because it's full of pictures and like funny sentences. So it's just kind of like an entertaining read, like in your own time, even if you're not studying. But if you are studying, I think it's a really like easy, relaxing way to study because it has all of these silly pictures. Anyway, I guess let's to our next topic over here. Okay, so let me get my little teaching notes and okay. Here we go. Okay, so we left off here. This is a character that means spear. We saw another character that was spear earlier. This is another, variant of what a spear looks like. This version of a spear, let me see what the inspiration. Sharp axe-like blade. So this spear is it's actually, oh, I have an eraser. Okay, this spear is actually more axe-like in shape. Hold on. Do I have a pen? Okay, there we go. It's more axe-like. It's sort of like if you've ever heard of a halberd, like those like really old weapons that are kind of like this. And it's like, it's like probably maybe like in a video game you've seen something like this. It's like a blade, but it's like an axe, and it's also kind of a spear. It's supposed to be sort of like that shape, and that's why it looks like this. And then there's also like these little like, a lot of the times like when they used to draw it, it would be like this is supposed to be like a decoration. So like if you ever see a spear, it'll usually have like a little like doo-doo hanging off the edge of it like that. So that's why we get this shape. And then since this is the shape of a spear, we see it here in the kanji for soldier and then in the kanji for region. Because obviously if you're a soldier, you're going to be carrying a spear as your weapon. And then for region, when there's different regions, especially like back in olden times, each region is guarded by soldiers, right? So here's the soldier, he's got his spear, and he's guarding his region. Hi, thank you for coming. Hope you're excited to learn about some kanji and bushu and tsukuri. Okay, next up. So this is source or plane. Like a plane of grass, like just like a big field. And so the origins of this image is that it's supposed to be like this is like a mountain, like this is like the edges of a mountain, so that now here we're on the plane. We're on the plane of grass, right? So like this is like the edge, and then we're entering the plane of grass, and then this is like water coming out of a rock. And that's why it's source, right? Because it's a water source. So that's where we get source and plane. And then here kunyomi hara and onyomi gen. And then that onyomi is then shared with this other character that also reads as gen, and it has the same meaning of source, right? So we have these two kanji, they both mean source, and they both mean gen, and one is in the other. Okay. we have another spear. Now this spear is more what you would think of as a traditional spear. It's like a sharp pointed blade at the top. That's what's happening here. And then as we said before, there's the decorations and like the handle. What else we got? Okay. Oh yes, okay. And so it has its kunyomi hoko spear and its onyomi mu, which then is used in this character, which means to serve. You know, tsutomeru. It's like tsutomeru. It's like, you know, like to serve your country or to serve your role in, you know, an organization or the military or whatever. Because, you know, it's like if you think of it like you're a soldier, it's like you have your spear and you're like, ah, I'm gonna do it for my country or whatever. And then here it comes into yawarakai because this is supposed to be a flexible tree that's good for carving spears. And so because the tree's wood is soft and flexible, you're able to create a spear with it. And that's where the meaning and shape of this kanji comes from. Kind of interesting, right? Where's the schedule of Nihongo no Mori Lives? That's a good question. Well, as of right now, we are doing this same 11 a.m. time. Next week should be Monday and Tuesday at the least. We'll keep you posted for more. I think we'll try to make a schedule and send it out for next week. Okay. Knitting. Next up, so this is both hands. And this shape actually comes from, it's supposed to be, this is like your one hand, and this is your other hand holding onto like your wrist. So it's kind of like this shape. It's like you have one hand, and then there's your other hand. So it's both hands. And this one has no kunyomi, onyomi soon. Oh, and just as a note, a lot of the time when we're doing these kanji lives, or if you've ever seen some of our kanji videos, you know, like in N1, 2, and 3 from Kono Isatsu de Gokkaku Suru, or in the Mina no Nihongo thing that we did, when we're teaching kanji, we'll often be like, oh, there's no kunyomi, there's no onyomi. Sometimes that means like there's no relevant kunyomi or there's no relevant onyomi. And the reasoning for that is that there's no need to learn it for the JLPT, or there's no need to learn it, you know, like just as a regular person living in Japanese society, because nobody really uses that reading anymore. So here we're just teaching you the most important stuff. You know, we're really we're focusing on that. So that's just context for that. And then here we have onyomi soon. And then here we have guide and protect, right? So when you use both hands to guide people, you're like, oh, it's this way. I'll lead you that way. And then this also, so it is both hands and the road, right? So this is michi, path, road. So you're guiding people on the path with both hands, right? You're like, oh, it's this way. There you go. And then this is protecting somebody. So like, for example, maybe you're protecting your house, right? We usually like to think of this as a representation of like a roof, which is, you know, you can associate it with your house, you know, your shelter that you stay in. And so you are then using both hands to protect your house. Nobody come in my house. It's my house. Don't even think about it. Okay, next up. Okay, so next up we have foot, as in FT, a measurement, right? You know, sort of like a meter, a little shorter. And when we think foot, you know, we think of feet, right? Like a person's foot. Because, you know, back in the day, people didn't have like actual precise measuring devices. They would just be like, I think it looks like about, like if I walk 3 steps, and it's about 3 of my feet. So 3 feet. This is sort of like that same concept. Where long ago it was used as a measurement. It's still used, I think, to represent certain measures of distance today, but that's just sort of like the origin of it. And it has the onyomi shaku, and then it appears here in this word mountain stream. And the way I sort of like rationalize the inclusion of this one is that it's the stream. Oh, hold on, let me just double check my notes. The link, oh yeah. Oh, some also view it as this image, so the length from the tip of the thumb to the tip of the finger. That's another way to view sort of the shape of this kanji. And so when I think of the stream, I think of it as it's about this small parcel of water about this long that goes through the mountains, right? And then we have the water here. So it's like, it's water, and it's about this size. It's just a small stream, right? Of Oishi Kanji series. It kind of is, yeah. It's so just to explain a little more about I Love Kanji. So back in the day, there was an Oishi Kanji series, and it was all in Japanese, right? And when I mean, it's at least from my perspective as a native English speaker and not Japanese speaker, it's easiest for me to study in my own language. And so the concept behind I Love Kanji was, let's make Oishi Kanji better and do something newer with it. So we translated all the meanings of every kanji into English, so that we know the meaning of each kanji individually, and we translated all of the little parts of kanji, such as this, also into English, and then we use those to make like a fun and easy to understand memorization technique. And then we also list the most frequently used vocabulary words on the JLPT, and include all of the readings for the kanji so that you can see in what words all the readings are used. And then the book is organized by bushu and tsukuri. You know, they're organized by the radicals of kanji, so that way you can see, for example, if we go to the water chapter, water, I think it was chapter 6. We go to the water chapter, and here's all these different shapes related to water. And when you look at them, it really is just like, oh, there's a reason that water is in these kanji. Like, there's a reason for all of the shapes that these kanji represent, right? And so, yeah, I think it's a pretty good read. It's very informative. It really changed the way that I look at kanji. It's a lot easier for me to recognize and memorize what shapes belong in what kanji, because it's like when you put a name to a shape like this, the same way that like in English we would be like, that's the letter A, this is the letter B. It's like you recognize it so that when you see it in another word, for example, or in another kanji, in this case, you can then be like, oh, I know him, he means this, or his reading is this. So I think it makes it a lot easier to memorize. So yeah, I hope you'll check it out. We have a link to it. How is it different from the Genki series? Yeah, it's in English. So the Genki series, I also studied with that like way back in the day. That is just that's like beginner, level 4, level 5, N4, N5, and it teaches grammar. This book teaches kanji and vocabulary. And it's aimed at level N2 level. So what was I going to say? Yeah, so this focuses on a higher level. Rather than like a book like Genki, for example, it's mostly like Japanese, and then it has English explanations or like English translations below the Japanese. This one is like primarily English. So I like to think that it's very easy. It's very what's the word? Like low hurdle. Very easily accessible for people, whether you're an English native speaker or not. We really tried to make the English like understandable to a wide audience as well. We didn't use any like words that like, oh, only people from America will know this word, or only people from, England will know this word. Like, and then, yeah, and as opposed to, I remember in the Genki series, the way that they teach kanji is really they just give you the shape and they give you the words that it appears in. This book isn't so much worried about like the stroke order or drawing the shapes. This book is more about memorizing how the shapes are made up. Like this shape is made up of a hand and an eye. So it means that I'll Oh, and it's the meaning of the kanji is watchful. So I'll nurse you to health with gentle hands and watchful eyes, right? And so by using that little mnemonic device and looking at the picture, you can then remember that, oh, this kanji, which means watchful, and it's used very often in like this, in the sense of like nursing somebody to health, watching over them, it includes the kanji with the shape for a hand and the shape for an eye. That's sort of the structure of it. Conversation in Japanese. This book doesn't include that, but I think we have videos on nihongonomori.com that cover, like for example, I know that we have videos on Kansai Ben, and there's some other lectures like that if you're interested in learning more about speaking Japanese. We also have business Japanese for the phone. That one's pretty helpful for me because when I get on the phone, even in English, it's, oh boy, answering the phone is difficult. Okay, where were we? Okay, we finished this one. Let's go on to the next. Okay. So this character is leather. The image of it is supposed to be an animal hide. So like these are like, for example, if it's a cow, like these are the horns of the cow, and this is its head, and this is its body, this is its legs, and this is its tail, right? So it's an animal hide. Animal hide is used to make leather, thus leather. The reading is kawa or kaku, right? So this is kunyomi, onyomi. And then here it's used in the character for shoe or shoes because leather is used to make shoes, or it used to be, or, you know, usually when you think of the soles of shoes or something like that, this is what the original shoes would be made of, right? So it's like, here we have leather, and here we have the character for transform or change. So we transform leather into shoes. Okay, next up. Okay, so this character means self, like oneself, the self. It has the kunyomi onore and the onyomi ko. And the way that I think of the shape is that it's a person, so it's like a person sitting on their knees, right? Like we saw something like that before with this shape. But so it's I like to think of it as like a person curled into themselves, right? So you're kind of like, right? Like imagine like this is their head, and they're holding their head to their knees, and this is the rest of their legs. So like you're curled into yourself, right? And then this reading here, ki. So when this kanji then enters other kanji, very frequently it has this reading of ki, right? So ki, ki, ki. Okay, next up. So this character means trillion, you know, like $1 trillion, 1 trillion yen. No kunyomi to speak of. The onyomi is cho. And then the readings that usually frequently show up are cho. Like here we have cho. And to. So here we have to, and then cho again. And then the origins of this one are actually that it's a turtle shell. Do you guys see it now? Right? It's like these are the cracks in a turtle shell, because turtle shells used to be like put on fire and you would like read the cracks in the shell to tell people's fortune. So if you think about it, your fortune is that, you know, you win $1 trillion, right? You were fortunate, you made a fortune. Yay, money, money, money. Ta-da! That's how I like to think of it. Okay. Next we have this kanji. It represents a heart or a skull because it's basically like this character, which is a box, and then the box is holding something within it, right? And so in this case, it's like, for example, like if this is the human and this is the chest, and then this is the heart. So the heart is inside the person. And then the skull is the same, right? You have the head, the skull, and then inside is your brain, right? It also can have a meaning of like bad, because there's an association of like, oh, it's like a bad heart. So like bad, evil. But there's actually a lot of kanji that have that sort of like very vague, like wazawai meaning. So it's just easiest to memorize it based on its shape like this. So kunyomi, don't worry about it, and onyomi kyo. And then the reading that might show up when it enters other kanji is also kyo, right? Like here in the kanji for chest, mune, it shows up, right? Like we said before, it's a heart. So the heart is in the chest. And then here we have the same thing, brain. The brain is inside the skull. Thank you. Okay, this one we talked about a little bit when we talked about this character, which also means show. But just to go over, this is supposed to represent a pedestal for like offering like sacrifices or like offering goods to the gods, right? So you'd be like, you'd be like, Apollo, please bless me, here's my grapes or whatever, you know? And you put the things on the pedestal. And so it's showing something so that everybody can see. And then this also had that same meaning because it's the left half of kami-sama. So it's like, oh, I'm showing something to kami-sama, so this is show. And then the kunyomi is shime, as in shimesu, right? That's the verb form of it, to show. And then the onyomi is ji. Here it appears in festival, because if you think about it, at a festival, the idea is that everybody would go and offer their sacrifices, like they would offer their goods for the gods to be happy, like it would be like a festival, like, oh God, please give us a good harvest. He would be like, okay, look at all the stuff we do, and we're devoted to you, so we show all of our goods, all of our meat and everything. And then the same thing here, so we have prohibited. So in this case, it's like you're making an example and you're being like, everybody look at this, this is bad, You're being like, this, don't do it. So this also has that connotation of showing everybody the way that things should be. It does look like that. It does look like this character that we use to talk about ku, which is like district or separation. Okay, next. This character means bundle, and it's supposed to be the image of like a bunch of wood, right? Because this is wood, You could call it tree or you could call it wood because wood is what trees are made of. So this is wood bundled together. So you bundle wood together, right? You bundle all the wood together, right? Like this is like you wrapped a thing around it. So we bundle wood together, bundle. And then we have taba. I think what should this be? Tabaneru? That should be there. And then we also have the onyomi soku. And so then we see bundle used here in arrange, totonoeru. So we have our hands, we have correct and bundle, right? So we saw this yesterday with hands, but so we use our hands to bundle things correctly, right? So we're like, this goes over here, and this goes over here, and this goes there, and this goes there. And then fast, this one was a little bit of a thinker, but when you look at the origins of it, of course, this is supposed to be path, right? This is our path. And then this is, again, it's a bundle of wood, but this idea of bundling is that you're bundling up the time it takes to get from one place to another on the road. Like back in the day, this little like part up here used to be like a person's feet. It was like feet stopped on the road. So it was, you bundle up time so travel gets faster. That's the idea behind it. All right, next up. Okay, here we have skin. This is actually supposed to be the image of a person. So this is a person, right? Like imagine like this is their neck, and then this is like their torso, right? Like, hi. And then this is the image of an animal skin draped over their body, right? They're like, oh, look, I'm so fashionable. But back in the day, rather than like making clothing, people would just like have like the animal skin and be like, yep, I'm dressed, I'm ready to go. So yes, so this is the animal skin draped over the person's body, which is why we get skin, because it's an animal skin. And then, so we have our kunyomi kawa, and our onyomi hi. And then here in our memo spot, we have hi and ha. So when this kanji enters into other kanji, the onyomis that you often see are hi and ha. So we have ha, ha, hi, hi. Are these in the book as well? So these are actually sort of like the building blocks of the book. So all of these like kanji and tsukuri and bushu that I'm teaching today are bushu that are in kanji within the book. And then because I sort of want the kanji that are in the book to like be a surprise, I don't want to like, you know, like spoiler alert. So basically this way of thinking, this way of creating mnemonics, it's exactly the same as what you'll see in the book, except these are different kanji. I hope you check out the book. Okay. Next up. Okay. This is lack, right? It's something that you don't have. Here we have this character for a person. And here, this is supposed to represent an open mouth. So it's like, right? Like imagine like this is a person and this is their mouth. Like here's the eyes. And they're like, you know, like Pac-Man. Waka, 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 waka. You know? So it's a person with an open mouth. The way I remember it is a person yawns with their mouth open because they lack sleep, right? If you lack sleep, you open your mouth to yawn, right? So the person who lacks sleep opens their mouth to yawn. Kunyomi is kakeru. So ka, keru, is the okurigana. And then onyomi is ketsu. So here we have, let me just make some room so you can see here. So here we have blow, like, and flexible, right? So another yawarakai. So in blow, the way that I think about it is that, right, so you're blowing air out of your mouth, so that air you now lack, right? Because the air was in your mouth and now it's gone. So you now lack air because you took it in and then you blew it all out. And then this one, this is supposed to be that it's a soft, flexible car. It's a car that lacks rigidity. A car that lacks rigidity, which means that it's flexible, right? It's got comfy chairs. It's easy to sit in. You don't have to worry if you get in an accident. There's an airbag. Okay, next up. So this is reason. Kunyomi, no. Onyomi, you and you. This is actually supposed to be like a deep hole in the ground. It's like if you dug, you know, it's like you dug a deep hole. So it's like a container deep in the ground, essentially. And so then it's in this kanji for space. And the reasoning for that is that it's like a big hole of space, right? So it's like a big hole of space that like the universe exists in, right? And then this one also, when you look it up, when you look into it, this is supposed to be like they're putting a deceased person into a hole in the ground where there is like there's like a shrine, or there's like a tombstone, essentially. So you can think of it like you're delivering the person into the afterlife, right? You put them in their own little room in the ground. You deliver them to the afterlife. I think that's abura, oil, right? And the way I think of this one is the reason oil and water, so the reason, right, and then oil, abura is oil. So the reason oil and water don't mix is obvious. And then this one, you could also think of it like, it looks very much like a present, like a little present box. So you could think the reason the present is wrapped is because it's a surprise. Next up. Okay, so this kanji is purposely, or like you dare to do something. You go out of your way to do something that's difficult, right? It's like even though there were obstacles in your way, you did it anyway. And so the kunyomi is a as in aete, and then the kunyomi is kan. Here we have it in kibishi, strict. And the way that I think about this one is that even though these obstacles of the strictness, right, you're facing strictness and rigidity, you're going to do something anyway, right? So you're facing strictness, but you're like, nah, I'm doing this. Oh, wait, did I have something with the shape of this one? Intention. Oh, no, just about this. Oh, I did have a way. Sorry, I had a memorization technique. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. I purposely covered my ears under my hands because it was loud, right? So I went out of my way to stop the noise coming to my ears. Or well, hold on. So this is ear. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, and then this is under, right? Like shita. So this is under, this is ear, and this is hands. So I purposely cover my ears under my hands because it's loud. Purposely cover my ears under my hands. Okay. Next up, okay. This is man. The no kunyomi, the onyomi is do, and then it appears again in do, as in like a do, doka, hallway. And the way that I remember this one, is a good, I think of this as the kanji for good, right? Yoi. A good man climbs the mountain, right? We learned this yesterday. This is mountain, right? Because it's like the multiple levels of incline on the mountain. So a good man climbs the mountain. Okay. Let's just skip past this one. I'm planning to do this one next week. Okay. Next. Okay. So here we have this character for hotel, right? Or like inn, if you want to think about it like back in the day. And so there's no kunyomi. The onyomi is te. And then again, when this kanji then enters another kanji, it may often have that onyomi of te. So here we have te in stop, as in like, for example, bus te, which is a bus stop, or te as in like a vehicle is stopping, right, coming to a stop. And the way that I think about it is that it's this idea of you are stopping your movement and staying for a while, right? So if you're going to a hotel or an inn, it's like, okay, I'm not going to travel anymore. I'm going to stop here for a bit, right? Which is what this this character for stop means. It means like to stop for a little while. It's like I'm going to stop. And then maybe I'm going to go again. But right now, we're chilling for a while. Okay. Oh, it's a little warm in here. Hold on one sec. Okay. Let me see how we are on time. Okay. Doing good. Okay, next up. So this is also a character for inn. It's another character for inn, you know, like a place that you stay. Here we have that word yado, which also means an inn. And then yadoru, yadosu, which means like to stay over, or to host somebody and have them stay over with you. And then the onyomi shuku. And then again, we see shuku used in this kanji. Shuku, shuku. Okay, next up. So this is a character which means hometown. Oh, let me see. Did I think I had sorry, I keep forgetting I have my memorization techniques. Oh, okay. Okay, this one. To go back to this memorization technique. I realized I left my hat at the hotel just after getting home and my mouth fell open. I left my hat at the hotel. Just after getting home, my mouth fell open in surprise, right? You were like, oh, my hat, the hotel, oh no, right? Because this is a hat, this is a mouth, right? Mouth, hat, this is your house, and then this, we like to think of it as just, as in like chodo, right? Like it just happened, or it's just this amount. We're going to learn about this one later. But yeah, so there's that memorization technique. Yes, and then this one is, an inn is like a house for 100 people, right? An inn is a house for 100 people, right? Hyaku, hito, roof. An inn is a house for 100 people. Okay, next up. Right, so we were talking about this one. So this is hometown, right? Da, da, da. The way I remember the shape is my hometown has rice fields and rich soil, right? Rice fields and soil, dirt, earth. So my hometown has rice fields and rich soil. The kunyomi is sato, like furu sato. The onyomi is ri, and then here it appears again with that same reading of ri. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So this also means hometown. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so the way I remember the shape of this one is I like to look at this piece and think of it like thread, right? It's just like a sort of squeezed down version of thread. Like we have this part here, and then we just take that part of it, right? It's a simplified version. So we have thread, we have what we saw earlier, good, and we have mountain. Or if you prefer, you could think of it like man and thread. But the example that I give here is my hometown has mountains and good thread. My hometown has mountains and good thread. Okay. The onyomi is kyo, and then when it appears here in this kanji, it also reads as kyo, or hibiku. Dun, dun. Okay, next up. Okay, so this is the old character that used to be used for China, like a long time ago. Now we say chugoku. Da, 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 da. What do we have here? Okay, kunyomi, kara. You'll see it in things like karage, the food, fried chicken, or karakasa, those like umbrellas, those like wooden umbrellas that keep you dry. Karakasa. The onyomi is to, and then when it appears here in sugar, sato, it has that same reading of to, right? And then the way that I remember the shape is, first of all, this shape here. Boop, boop, boop. Sorry, let me double check. Yeah, okay. So this is a simplified version of this shape. This shape, which you may have seen before, like with this above it, or you'd see it in like writing. But basically what it's supposed to represent is a paintbrush, right? It's like the paintbrush that you put down on the ink. So this is your paintbrush. You stick your paintbrush into the ink. Deep, 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 deep. And then you make all these lines. So basically, this is a simplified picture of a paintbrush. So this is a paintbrush. This is your mouth. And this is a room, right? Because it's one corner with two walls, right? So it opens up into the rest of the house, so it's just a room. Okay, so I put a brush in my mouth and paint a picture of China in my room. I put a brush in my mouth and paint a picture of China in my room, right? Get some beautiful scenery in here. The memo of the kanji that shares the same reading the original kanji. So, to explain the memo, the reason I wrote memo and why we have like a separate thing here for onyomi and memo is that sometimes they're the same and sometimes they're not. Or to say like, for example, let's go back, because there are some that aren't the same. And I believe the reasoning for that is probably like the reading may exist, but it's just not used very often is a possibility. I'm not actually sure the reasoning. I would have to look more into it. But basically, this is the reading that's necessary to know for this kanji. But these are the readings that are possible when it enters a different kanji. These are like the readings that you'll most often see. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. Where are we at? Here we go. Okay. So this is a character that means red. Oh my god, voice crack. Yikes. This character means red, like the color red. We also have, oh my god, do I remember how to draw this? Oh, can't draw. Okay, we also have this, but this is just like a different character that also means red. Okay, right, so we have red, and then our onyomi is chu. And then here we have it in the word stump. It also is used to mean a stock, like a stock in a company. But here we think about it in the word stump, right? It's like we have a tree, right? We have a tree and we cut it down, and now we're able to see the inside of the tree, right? It's the stump of the tree. And I mean, I'm sure it depends on the variety of tree, but the inside of this stump is red, right? All of the fresh wood that hasn't yet like gotten hard and turned to brown bark is red on the inside. Dun, dun, dun. Did I have something for this? Ah, this is what I had. Okay. The cow. So like this top part, the cow and the tree. Right? So the cow and the tree are both red. Is how I decided that we should memorize this one. The cow and the tree are both red. Thank you. Okay, next up. Dun, 10 clams. Okay, so this character means stick through, like to pierce something, right? It's like, for example, like here's a clam. We're gonna pierce it and make a kebab. Pierce, right? And so here we have it in stick through, and then we have the onyomi kan, and then the reading here. Also, we have it kan in like shukan, which is like a tradition or like a habit, something you always do. So it's like you're sticking through with what you're doing. You're going through with it. You're always continuously doing it through time, is how I think about it. But the drawing that I have for this is so we have stick 10. So this here I have as a 10, this inside part. 10 clams, right? Because this is like a sea creature, like a clam or a mussel. sea creature, the shell, right? So, like you want to like be like, this is the shell, and these are supposed to be like the little feet that they use to like dig into the ground. So we have stick 10 clams through the mouth to make a kebab. Yeah. Stick 10 clams through the mouth to make a kebab. Let me see, what time is it? Okay, we still got 50 minutes. Keep it going. Okay, what's next? Okay, this character means clothes, right? We also saw this character that means clothes. Ding. This is like a collar of a shirt, right? It's like you stick your head through a little collar. Ding. And so we have this is also clothes. The onyomi is I, and then we also have this repeated reading of I in this kanji, which means to lean on. So it's like literally like if you have a person, if like your friend is here and you want them to do something for you, like lean on them and be like, please do me a favor. And so the way I rationalize this is that people always like keep clothes closest to their body. So it's sort of like that idea of proximity, right? So you have a person and clothing, lean on. So it's like you're getting closer to something. And then this here is manufacture. So it's like you're making clothing, right? You're manufacturing clothes, for example. And then the memorization technique for this was, here we have a hat, right? Hat. And then here, this is like pants. Because we'll see at other times we have like this kind of shape, which is like legs. And then when we put this on it, it's like pants, right? So this part is often shown as legs. It'll appear as legs. And then this here is like you put something on your legs to get pants. So when we put a hat and pants together, that's our clothes, right? A hat and pants are types of clothes or clothing. Okay. Okay. This character means to shoot, you know, like to shoot an arrow or, you know, like, and then the onyomi is sha, and then sha also then appears again here. What would this be used in? Like shazai, apologize. And the way that I remember the shape is, here we have this character that means body, right? Like mi omamoru toka, protect your person, your body. So this is a body. And then this we saw earlier, this is both hands, right? Both hands. So we have a body and both hands. So I have the killer used both hands to shoot the body, right? Both hands shooting the body. Sorry for the violence, but the kanji, there's very many violent kanji. Okay. Okay. All right, next up. Dun, dun, dun. Where are we? Person change. Okay, so now we're on to change. So this means to change or to transform. Right, like one reading, like the kunyomi for this, you don't need to know it for level 2, for N2, I think. But the reading for it is like bakeru or bakasu, which means like to transform like into something, right? Like you know, like when the tanuki like transforms his leaf into treasures, and then the guy's like, oh, treasure, here's my money, or you know, like here's whatever you want, tanuki, and then the tanuki sneaks away and he turns it back into a leaf, and it's like like that, like Tom Nook, tanukichi. This man. I can't draw the Animal Crossing leaf, it's very hard. That's the Animal Crossing leaf, if you can believe it. It looks like a sad lemon with a hole in it. Okay. Dobutsu no Mori fans out there. Okay. Anyway, the onyomi is ka. The reading that also appears when it appears is ka. 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 We said this earlier. Remember shoes. We transform leather to make shoes. And then we have it here with flower. Ka. Ka, ka, ka. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. And then the memorization technique was the person changes shape when they're sitting down, right? So this is a person sitting down, right? Me sitting. And then this was previously them. So the person changes shape when they sit down, right? Before they were like this, hi, and now they're like this, hi. Okay, next up. Okay, so this character means nurture, right? It's sort of like, it's like you nurture plants. You know, it's like you give them everything they need to succeed. You know, you take care of them, you watch over them, you see them through, right? It's like you're taking responsibility for them and their development. So nurture. And then the kunyomi is soda, so sodatsu or sodateru. Sorry, this is in the wrong spot. And then the onyomi is iku. And then here we have it showing up in the kanji thoroughly, right? So, and the like the naritachi for this one is that it's, sorry, where did I have this? Right, it's about seeing things through to the end with your own hands, right? It's like you use your own hands to make sure that something gets done because you're like committed to seeing it through and you took that responsibility for it, which is why it has that kind of association. Okay, and oh, I keep forgetting the memorization technique. Okay, this is a hat. This is also a hat. So we have two hats, and we have this, which we learned was meat or flesh. Or you could think of it like muscles, right? Because your muscles are made up of, you know, meaty flesh. So our memorization technique is, I nurture my muscles by lifting two hats, right? Here's like we're doing some weightlifting. Here's one hat. Here's another hat. Nurturing these muscles. Okay. Okay. I don't know if I want that as well. Okay. So this character means to reach. The kunyomi is itaru. You know, it's like how far does something reach? How far does it go? And then here it shows up in the kanji for do and arrive. And so let me look at my notes. Originally deliver or present. Right. So this kanji, it has so it has the character for hand that we learned before, and it has reach, right? And so the original connotation of this was that you presented something to somebody. It was like you do your due diligence by like by being like, oh, here is me like presenting you with what you asked for, right? So it's more about delivering and presenting to somebody, which is why, you know, it's often used as a polite form of speech. Like it'll be like onegai itashimasu, right? That's where we get itasu with this. So yes, so because it was originally about delivering and presenting is why it has this reach meaning in here. So it's you use your hands to reach the person that you're trying to deliver something to. And then arrive, here again we have an association with reach because you're going from one place to another. It is weird, right? Because apparently, I don't know why it's moon. Like, I don't know what the association between moon and meat and flesh is, but the original shape of this character is supposed to be like meat. It's supposed to be like a meat, like a thing of meat, you know, like a leg of meat. It's really interesting. Okay, let's see, how are we doing on time? Okay, maybe we have time for one or two more. Let's keep going. Okay. Dun dun dun. Da, 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 da. Wait, did I do the memorization? I keep forgetting the memorization technique. Bad teacher. Okay. This is na, na, na. When I reached town, I found one hat in the soil. When I reached town, my pen just fell out of my hand. Okay. When I reached town, I found one hat in the soil, right? One hat, soil. I reached the town, I found one hat in the soil. Okay. Okay, next up. So this character means to eat or to wear. Mesu, as in like meshiagaru. And then here we have the onyomi sho. And then when it appears in all of these kanji, it also has that reading of sho, right? Shoutai, shomei, toka, shoukai. And the way that we can remember this one is oh, right. So here we have this character. This is a character for blade, like katana. So here we have a blade. And then here we have a mouth. Right? Blade, mouth. So we're going to say, I cut the food with a blade and ate it with my mouth. Cut the food with a blade, eat it with my mouth. Okay. Here we have public. The onyomi is ko. And the way that we remember the shape is, okay, so this is the character for 8, remember, hachi. And then this is, again, a hat. So I'd say, I'd never wear 8 hats in public. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, it's too embarrassing. Can't wear 8 hats in public. And then here in this kanji, we have it showing up. So this character means total, like the sum of all things brought together. And the reasoning for that is that this character, this character and this character by association have this meaning of gathering things. And when everything and everybody is gathered together, that means everyone or the public, right? So it's all the people. Everything is all together, which means we're referring to the public. And so that's why it appears here in total, because of that association of everything gathered together, everyone gathered together, you're in public. Okay, one more, kind of? Okay. Or you know what? Maybe let's stop here and pick up again next week. And I'll do a little bit of an outro here. Maybe give an explanation of I love kanji for anybody who doesn't know, right? So I love kanji. I love kanji. The concept. How do we make studying kanji fun? How do we make studying kanji actually understandable? Well, we explain all of like the hidden rules around kanji, right? We explain the associations between the shapes that make up kanji and all of their little meanings, and the association between the shapes and how they can influence the readings of kanji. So that way you can learn to see them in a way that's easy to understand and hopefully come to love them. The book is available starting next week on the 18th of February. It will be in bookstores in Japan. I think the date that it'll appear on bookshelves like depends on when they actually shelve it. So it might take a couple of the days for them to like take it out of the box and put it out on display and everything. But it will be out by then. It's already out on Amazon for pre-order. You know, we worked super hard on it. We hope you enjoy it. We really, you know, it's a labor of love, really. Because, you know, so many people here at the company are foreigners, so it's like we all had to learn Japanese, right? We are all still Japanese language students, and so we've tried really hard to make an easy and enjoyable way for all of you to enjoy studying kanji just the same way that we wish we could have studied kanji when we were still, you know, in school or, you know, whatever situation you find yourself in that you want to be studying kanji. It's all in English, so it's very accessible to people who, you know, haven't even studied Japanese before. So, you know, if you're interested, check it out. Thank you for joining me today. I'll probably see you next week. I think Monday, same 11 a.m. Tune in if you feel like it. We're going to learn some more kanji. It's going to be a good time, hopefully. Have a good day, everybody.